What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, welcome. My name is Meg, and today we're doing a Bachelor Talk on episodes 3, 4, and the tell-all of Bachelor Winter Games. Alright, you guys, so I'm not going to waste any time getting into this. I talk about binging a show. I watched episode 3, episode 4, and the tell-all all in one sitting last night. So my mind is just like overflowed with Bachelor information. And by the way, don't mind my hair. It looked a lot better a little bit ago. I was just outside brushing my dogs, which is like a workout in itself because I have a husky and a shepherd mix. So it's a lot, and it's pretty humid outside, so I feel like my hair just kind of like dyed, but it looked a lot cooler earlier. Anyways, like I said, I'm covering 3 different episodes, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get into it. So starting out with episode 3, the strong couples in the house is Stassi and Luke, Lily and Courtney, Viviana and Jordan, Leslie and Dean, Ashley and Kevin, Ellie and Josiah. And then the uncertain couple in the house is, of course, Claire and Christian. And then the unpaired folks in the house are Tiffany, Yuki, Ben, and Michael. So the event for this episode was downhill skiing, where the fastest winner got, or the fastest ski time got the day card. And of course, I feel like Leslie and Dean are just like they're kind of like that brother-sister team that's like super competitive. Like, it reminds me of like the brother-sister team from, oh gosh, what was it? High School Musical, Sharpay. Like, that's kind of like what they remind me of in like a cute way. So of course they both won. So they decided to share their date card with Ashley and Kevin. And I think that that's really great. I really enjoyed Ashley's story on this season. I think that it's amazing that she seems to finally have found what she was looking for. So I've been cheering for her on the sides for it to work out, and Kevin seems like such an amazing guy for her. And can I just say, like, with the actual event, I was surprised that the track was so long, and it was just so funny to like watch everyone fall on their ass, because that would totally be me. I'm so unbalanced, and I love how like most of the girls, like, they're just like, nope, and they go like a foot, and then they're like, okay, we're done. So that was like kind of entertaining to watch. So Ashley and Kevin, they had dinner, and then they went to go make clay pots, and they were talking about her whole virginity issue, and Kevin's just saying like he's like that's not gonna scare him off, which is really great. And then they like had like a steamy makeout sesh like with the clay. So I loved watching their story. And then we see Leslie and Dean, and at this point she's still a little bit guarded and still a little bit unsure about him and his attentions with the show in the process. So the rest of the episode is basically Claire trying to figure out her relationship with Christian, and they just can't seem to make it work. It's obvious that it's like a language barrier, a communication issue, or Christian's just not the kind of guy that's going to make moves. He is more like a talker, and I'm gonna give you affirmations, and Claire definitely wants more of a physical touch. So their love languages definitely didn't match, and they ended up deciding to call it quits. So they went home, and this is like the episode of like everyone going home. So following the suit of everyone else going home, Tiffany just comes to the realization that there's really no one left there, because everyone else is basically coupled off except for Ben and Michael, and she's not really feeling a connection with either of them. So she decides to go home, which is like, it was just like a trigger effect of everyone else following suit. So Ben kind of follows suit with that, and he just explains that he thought he was ready to be on the show after his divorce and everything being so public. But after spending the couple weeks there, he realized that he's not ready for that process. And also there really wasn't anyone there that he connected with either, so he decided to go home. Then Michael follows suit because there's really nobody left for him. It's just him and Yuki that's left. And then poor Yuki, like, she just definitely had an uphill battle here. But props to her. She flew all the way from Japan to be on the show, and to not really know any English, like, that takes some major kahunas. So props to her for being able to do that and being open to the process. So I feel like she was also decided on going home, but then Chris Harrison basically sat her down and was like, listen, we need you to leave now. So that was like, what, 6 people gone in one episode? I was like, oh my God, are they even gonna have like a rose ceremony? Like, what are they even going to do? By the way, the marks on my arm are also from my dog playing with me. Anyways, the rose ceremony was definitely cringy, cheesy. I mean, they had to do it in at least one episode, right? Like, we can't escape from some kind of cringe throughout a season. So they decided to do a kissing contest, and I was just like, oh, this is just such a disaster, because I feel like I would feel awkward having to like basically make out with someone in front of judges to prove that like you're into them and that you're taking the relationship seriously. So weird. So basically they brought in JoJo, they brought in Rachel, and they brought in Ari. If you guys have been watching my Bachelor Talks with him, you know how I feel about him. And if you aren't, I will have a link up above for the last episode, and then the playlist will also be linked down below too. So I mean, you know, check it out. Support your girl. So basically everyone just like had to make out in front of each other, and in that very like High School Musical-esque that is Leslie and Dean, they did like a whole dance routine that ended up with a kiss, which I get what they're doing. Like, they're very competitive people, and they're like, oh, it's the Winter Games, like, we're here to compete, and like they get in their heads, they're like, what can we do, like what kind of routine, like what can we do to impress people and show people that we're the best? Like, that's just how they are, and that's like what makes them cute. But the judges unfortunately really weren't feeling it. I was so nervous that they were going to be the couple sent home, and I'm so glad that they weren't. And then it's also interesting because the two girls that are from the foreign countries, like that are from European countries, you could tell like how like culturally different this is for them, because they're both very reserved, and neither of them are really into PDA, but who's to say, like, are they just not feeling the guy, or is that just how they really are? And poor Elliot threw up, and Josiah, like, props to him because he still made out with her afterwards anyways, and that was just really sweet how he went to go and comfort her. I think that this season just really showed the guys, like, caring for their women and making sure that they're okay, even when they were doing the sports and falling down, helping them get up. I thought it was like really sweet and gentleman-esque. So yeah, she totally, I mean, she blew chunks in the toilet, and it basically told the judges that there's not that much of a connection there, so they were the couple that was eliminated. And then Luke and Stassi, like, they definitely seem like a couple that's on top. But we see that Kevin and Ashley got first place, and they were so excited about it because it was like the one thing that they won. So that was cute for them. So let's go ahead on to episode 4. Alright, so episode 4, we are down to Ashley and Kevin, Leslie and Dean, Lily and Courtney, Viviana and Jordan, Stassi and Luke, and this is the episode where things start to fall apart, because all these couples seemed like they were pretty strong throughout the whole season once they got together, and now that it's getting towards the end, the pressure is on, and I feel like they were definitely feeling it. So the last competition was like an ice skating routine, which is like one of the main events that I think most people like watch for the Olympics. And they brought in, I can't remember their names, but it was like they won their 5-time Olympic champion couples team, and then they also brought in Nancy Kerrigan, which I feel like most of us like watched growing up like in the 90s compete through the Olympics, so it was really cool to see that. And the whole purpose of the skating competition was just to really test their ability of working together. Like, yeah, you guys are really great at spending like every minute of every day together, but how can you guys work together? How is your communication skills? That's just kind of what this competition was testing them on. This also brought up the reality of the life after the show for pretty much all the couples, and this is definitely conversations that made and break who was standing. So we have Lily and Courtney, and I'm obsessed with them. I think like they're the cutesy little couple. They're just so fun to watch, and they just have so much fun, and their energy and their vibes together just mesh so perfectly. Like, they're just such fun, loving people that seem like they're ready for any challenge. And then we see Viviana and Jordan start to fall apart. You can kind of see it while they're practicing during their skating, and I think that's just because reality was starting to hit Vivi, and she was just freaking out. And poor Jordan, like, he laid it all out there saying that he wanted a future with her outside the show, but unfortunately she was not there yet or on his level, so they ended up breaking it off and going home, and you could tell she just felt terribly. Like, I could empathize with her because it's hard when you're in a relationship with one person and you're just not feeling it and the other person's like totally into it. You just feel bad because you don't want to hurt them. But in the end, she made the best decision because it wouldn't have been fair to Jordan to keep stringing him along, I guess you could say, if she really wasn't feeling it. So I'm proud that she was able to take her feelings into account and just have that difficult discussion with him. And then again, while she was having her panic attack, I thought it was really sweet how he was trying to comfort her. So you could tell that even though they were in the house for a short amount of time, they really did develop like really strong connections with one another. It was also kind of sad for me to watch Jordan because he just wanted to be there for her and that's all he cared about, and it was just so sweet. And I think that he really redeemed himself on the show because he came into the house with a bad reputation, and I feel like we all got to see like a really different side of him and a sweet side of him. Alright, so this was the part in the episode where unfortunately Jordan and Bibiana just decided to call it quits and they went home. So the rest of the remaining couples got to go on a date, and it was this fantasy suite date night. So I did find it interesting that the two American couples were the only two couples to actually go and spend the night together, and then the couples that had someone from a different country like decided to forego their room and decided to sleep separately. So again, I found that interesting with the whole cultural aspect of it. And Ashley and Kevin at this point, they're my favorite couple on the show, and she is so ready for that fantasy suite, and I'm just like so happy that she seems so in love with this guy. And then finally with Leslie and Dean, like she's been so unsure of him and guarded, and it feels like she's finally ready to let him in, and it seems like they were able to really bond and have an even stronger connection after their fantasy suite date night. I couldn't even deal with them doing the Bachelor national anthem and having everyone stand for it. I was like, really? It was bad enough the first time for the opening, and I guess they just felt the need to do it again. I want them to do another season of Winter Games, and I know they're gonna have that damn anthem song, but I just wish that that's like the one thing that they cut. So it was really cute to watch the routines. Lily and Courtney, of course, had like the most fun, and I feel like both of them really wanted to try and do like as most advanced moves as they possibly could, and they were the couple that I think managed to do that. So I felt like they were really strong like on the competition and skill side of it. And then Leslie and Dean, of course, like they were trying to be all cutesy, and I thought that they did a really good job with their routine. So I think that they had really good charisma like with the crowd and chemistry with each other. And then Stassi and Luke. Luke did a really good job of being support for Stassi, and she definitely tried to incorporate more skill into the routine, and he was just kind of there to be her backbone. And Ashley and Kevin. Poor Kevin, he kind of busted his knee during practice, and like I was nervous that they weren't going to get to perform, but they did, and they heated up that ice rink with all the chemistry that they had, and they were the obvious crowd favorite, and they were the ones that ended up being crowned champions of Bachelor Winter Games. So that was awesome for them, because Kevin wanted to win so bad because he obviously has that competitive side to him, and Ashley just felt terrible because she is so not athletic. So I thought it was really great at the end they were able to pull it together and win. So now we are going to go ahead and move on to the tell-all, which was very dramatic and interesting, as most tell-alls are. So Lily and Courtney, I was like a little bit concerned because they had them like sitting out with the rest of the panel. I'm like, are they not together anymore? Like, why aren't they like one of the main couples that get to go up and sit on the couch? Like, I was nervous for a minute. But they both decided to move to LA instead of picking between Australia and New Zealand. They just said, screw it, let's just move to LA. So they did an entire road trip across the country, and it looked like they had a blast doing that. I would love to see them have like a YouTube channel and like upload vlogs, because it just seems like they're always on adventures, and that's awesome. So yeah, they're living together in LA, and I'm really happy that they're still together because they really do seem like a perfect match. Next up, we got to see Leslie and Dean, and I was excited to see them still together, and then they kept previewing that someone's getting engaged on the show, and then they kept showing Dean getting down on one knee, and I'm like, this can't be right. And I'm like, there's no way he's proposing to her right away, because as much as they're committed to each other, they're like, I don't think that they're ready for that step. But he proposed a key to his house for her, so that was really sweet, you know, asking her to move in with him that way. So I'm really happy that they're still together, because they were another favorite couple of mine in the house. Now, I'm gonna skip over Luke and Stassi. So we're gonna get to Ashley and Kevin, and I was so excited to see that they were still together because they were vibing so well on the show. Like, I think that they had the best, like, most emotional chemistry out of all the couples on the show, and I'm just so excited. I really hope that it works out for them, and they seem to be splitting their time back and forth between Canada and LA, I believe, is where Ashley is stationed. So I'm excited. I hope that they have a very happy future together. And Stassi and Luke. Poor Stassi, because she was such a sweet girl. And you could tell, like, she was so vulnerable on the show. And I feel like she's someone that might be normally guarded in real life. So it was just really disappointing to hear that Luke basically ghosted her, and I don't get him. Like, he confuses me so much, because on the show, like, I feel like he was the one that everyone wanted to be like one of the bachelors, and he didn't do it, or something didn't work out, so people were happy to see him on the show, and he seemed like the perfect guy on the show. And he seemed like he was so devoted and so in love with Stassi. And then to hear that after the show ended, he didn't even ask for her phone number. Like, he straight up ghosted her. And that's just so shitty to do. And I'm just shocked that he did that. And he made himself look like the biggest asshole in America, like, on TV. Like, good luck being a bachelor or being on any other show and having people like you or respect you, because his reputation on The Bachelor, or on The Bachelorette of his season, I feel like a lot of people came for him saying that he was just there to get fame or to get more followers for his music career, so he had that going for him. And then it seems like Claire kind of called it out and said, if you're here on the show for more Instagram followers and fame, then you're not here for the right reasons. So I feel like Claire, like, really dished the tea on that. And he made himself look like a terrible, terrible human being. I can't believe that he did that to someone, to have those feelings on the show and then to just never talk to them or try to get into communication, especially when social media is so accessible. Like, there's no excuse to do that. So my heart went out to her. I felt so bad for her, because no one deserves that. And then the show ended with a surprise couple with Claire, which I feel like we all kind of knew, because they were showing a picture of a woman with a ring on her finger, with a pinky ring, and we all knew Claire was the only one in the season to wear a pinky ring, so I think we were all kind of thrown off when she went home. But I knew, like, I was just wondering, well, who is she going to be engaged to if it's not Christian? You know what I mean? So she says that this person reached out to her, and it was everything she wanted, because her whole issue with Christian was that he didn't, you know, follow her, he let her walk away, he didn't do this, he didn't do that, and she said that this person left a voicemail on her phone, just wanted to see if she was okay, and didn't give up on her, and it was Benoit, and it was so sweet to see that they reconnected, and, yeah, he proposed to her on stage, so it was really heartwarming, honestly. I feel like I almost started to tear up watching it, because it was just so cute and sweet to see. So I'm really excited for them, and you know, it's awesome that there was one couple that was able to find love enough to want to be engaged. And from what I hear, they are looking at televising the wedding, which would be fun to see. So I really hope that the other couples that left the house together remain together. And I was honestly surprised that this season was so short. It was literally 4 episodes, but it was so much fun to watch. I really hope that they bring it back again next year, even though there's no Olympics. I hope that they do something like in this style, because it was just honestly such a fun season to watch. So that is going to wrap it up for the Winter Games recap and review. What were your thoughts about this entire season and like the last 3 episodes? Let me know in the comments below. We have Women Tell All coming up Sunday night, and then the next episode of The Bachelor on Monday. So we're nearing the end of that season too. So whenever they come out with Paradise, I will be back to do more of these videos. But yeah, and then if you guys aren't subscribed for my other content, I've been putting out a buttload of videos lately, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out if you would like to see more of me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you like this, and I will catch you next time. Bye guys.